Okay, so we've seen a lot of different features in Estate Assist for how we can enter data, the different parts of the estate as we go through, how we can collaborate. But those probably aren't the big thing you're looking for. This video is going to get into what most people are most interested in, which is the pleadings and how court documents are automatically prepared for you by Estate Assist. Now, it's important to remember we enter the information through the different sections of the system: our case details, our interested persons, our receipts, and our disbursements. And as we enter the different information, check the different boxes and things like that, it's telling the software all sorts of things it needs to know to prepare your pleadings for you automatically. So that all you have to do is go to your pleadings page from your case dashboard, and you're going to find that documents are going to be automatically prepared to the extent they can be. And let's start by just seeing that we have our Ohio Standard Estate Administration forms here. Okay, reminder, we are in the process of automating and adding local forms by county. We are starting with some of the larger counties, and we've also put up a web survey that you can complete to tell us what counties you're most interested in. And we're going to listen to our users and try to fulfill those requests one by one as quickly as we can. And so eventually, we are going to have all the local forms for all the counties in Ohio as part of this system. And we're going to have all the disciplines of Ohio probate law. So guardianships and trusts and adoptions and things of that sort are all going to be added here in the coming months. We've really built a lot of that already. It's all in the background, but we need to make some changes, and we want to see what you think and what your feedback is on what we've done so far, what you like and what you don't, what you want us to change, and then we'll be launching and finalizing those pieces as we move forward. And our hope is that sometime late this year, we will have the full suite of Ohio probate practice and all local forms built in here and working for you. But for now, we've got things set up for our state standard estate administration forms. And so we don't have to go through and make any selections or say, here's what information I want put on this form or that. We believe that the software has gathered the information appropriately, and it's going to go ahead and populate things for us. So by putting in our case information and our interested persons, we can now go to our 1.0, and we see that it's automatically going to pull the county information for the court. It's going to get us the current judge. It's going to put our case information in, and it's going to go ahead and list all of our interested persons, and it's going to categorize them appropriately. So we know which people belong on the front and which people belong on the back. And by the way, we see here 2 pages. This document can go out to 4 pages, 2 pages of each, the front categories and the back categories, for a total of about 30 people in each group. And so hopefully that's going to handle your estates for you. But if we ever need to add more, we're happy to do that. We can go and see a form like a 2.0, which just has all of our general information about the case, our fiduciaries. If we had a second fiduciary, they would be listed here as well. It pulls all of our attorney information automatically, and it populates everything accordingly. 4.0, very much the same thing, gathering all the information, pulling some financial information for bond determination, and so on. Let's go and see one that does a little math, though. So we've been entering all of our receipts, and you'll remember that receipts are going to automatically default to the date of appointment of the fiduciary. Okay, that's our measuring stick for our inventory and appraisal. When was the fiduciary appointed and took responsibility for assets? And so that's when we're going to measure from, and that's the date that you'd want to enter. Again, it'll default if you've already entered that date into your case information screen. And so we can go in now and we'll see that our 6.0 automatically pulls all that information. So we didn't have to go and do anything with the receipts. We didn't have to add anything up or say what we wanted to put on here. If it was a receipt dated the date of appointment, it automatically gets calculated and added here based on categories of those receipts, which you selected as you were going through entering information. It's going to total it up for us. It's going to give us our list of vehicles that are non-probate transfer vehicles. And of course, it's going to provide us with any other information that needs to be automated. Similarly, 6.1 Our schedule of assets is going to do the same thing. It's going to pull all the information. It's going to tell us if anything's been appraised. It's going to tell us its value. It's going to total things by category, and that is going to give us a total of everything. Now, I will mention, as we've been testing, listening to our beta testers, and just based on my experience, it's always my preference that we have bold headings and bold totals. And I know we don't have that right at the moment. We've got all caps, but we don't have those boldened yet. We're working on getting that functionality plugged in. We hope to have that up and running very soon. But we do plan to have those things bold. I think it makes the documents more readable and, of course, easier for our folks at the court as they're going through and trying to figure out all the categories and what we have. So all that information, again, didn't have to be picked. We didn't have to point to things as to what we want where. All those things pulled automatically just by making the entries. Now, that also brings us to an important point. When we go into a document, actually, let's go back to 6.1. When we go into a document, we may want to make some kind of change. Now, here's one thing. Several documents are documents that sometimes need amended. And so a number of the pleadings have this sort of invisible box here above the title of the pleading where you could type in that something's amended. Okay, the fields can be filled as you're going through using this. That's not a problem. And also, if for some reason you wanted to add some text in or a number or something, if you'd made a typo or you just decided that you didn't like how something looked and you wanted to make a change, all these fields are editable. And so if you realize this was actually an 18-foot fishing boat and you had a client there ready to sign and you just want to change that to 18 and hit print, you have the ability to do that. However, please understand that the documents are being created real time when you open them up. It pulls the information that you've been entering into the different information screens. So when I make changes on this document, it's not going to save back into that data. If I close this and I reopen it, it's not going to have that information. It's going to be back to the originals that we had a 15-foot fishing boat. And so if you would want to make a change like that, you just have to go back into your receipts. That's the place to make that update. We don't want to try to be changing things in multiple directions. If you want to change a receipt, go back in, make the change, save it, and the document will update. So we can go do that real quick. We go in, we open up our fishing boat information. We quickly change that to 18. We've got a save button at top and bottom just to go more quickly. Now we go back to our pleadings. And just like that, we've got an 18-foot fishing boat. Okay, that's our best way to update information. We want to do it through the data entry screens. That's the appropriate way to make changes and keep new records and information. Let's take a look at some things where it's going to help us make decisions or fill out documents based on what we expect is going to happen in the estate. Again, we don't want the idea that you have to go through and pick what do I want to go where. We want as much automation as possible. So when you went through and entered your receipts, you'll remember that one of the things you did was to make an entry as to what the expected disposition was of the asset. Okay, and remember that can be changed. And so specifically here, let's look at a piece of personal property. We saw the fishing boat, and if we go down through, we see it is selected to transfer in kind. Okay, so we didn't select to sell it. We're going to transfer it in kind. And let's go down through, let's see here. I think we've got a car, this Toyota Tacoma that's not a spousal vehicle. Yep, we've got that set to sell at private sale for best price obtainable and for cash. Okay, so that 2015 Toyota Tacoma is listed there. Now we go out to our pleadings and we go to our application to sell personal property. We go down through and look, there's our 2015 Toyota Tacoma, all right? And it's set for private sale, best at cash. It automatically populates because we said we plan to sell it. If we plan to do it as an in-kind distribution, then it's going to show up on the, we can enter that on the application to transfer in kind. But if we say we think we're going to sell it, it's going to go ahead and list it here. Now, obviously, if you've got power to sell in the will, you may not need this form. but we want it to be automatic and available if you do need it. Okay. Now, some forms, that's a good example. Let's go to that 9.0 again. There are a few things that we don't know when they're happening. We don't know what the software is not going to know yet. So, for example, if there's a special allegation, a special issue, you could just type that in. When you go to print, you could add that in. We don't know what the spouse's position is on consent to sale and things of that sort. So you still have some autonomy to make some changes to fit your case as you go through. And if you think that you're not sure, you want to prepare the document and you may need to make a change to it, you could always save this document in editable form to your computer if for some reason you didn't know the final answer when you printed it the first time. Let's also take a look at the fact that while we have all the standardized forms here, we have a few things that are non-standard, but we think that they're valuable and important. And 9.0 presents one of those. If you've used 9.0 many times, you know that it's got a pretty small consent section. And if you need consents from a number of people, we've started to build some documents that are designed to go with the standard forms, but they're designed to help with practical issues. And so this is a good example. This extra 9.0, or might be called 9.0b, pulls the same data for the sale. However, it gives us more waiver consent or waiver signature blocks, just to help make things more convenient for you. I know that we've had that issue getting all of our people to consent, and you have to attach a page or something, and we've just built some of those things in to make it go more smoothly. Now, if you come down into the 13s, you're going to find that while these populate with the case caption, the rest of the document is blank. Accountings use different functionality, and you're going to see that. It is fully automated in a State Assist. We want your accountings to be basically a couple clicks of a mouse, and it does all the work for you. And so we're going to show that in another video.